What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rob. I like to play games, and welcome back to the Commander Corner. Today, we are going to be taking our first look at some of the Secrets of Strixhaven cards, as well as one of the commanders that we've been building. I think we're going to do this all the way up until the release of Strixhaven, taking one of the commander decks and kind of doing like an upgrade there. So we'll probably get maybe one, maybe two of these done, but without further ado, let's look at the one that we've got here today. All right, and so today we are doing a Commander Corner on Killian, Decisive Mentor. Killian is an Orzhov commander, so that's going to be white-black. He's a 2/3 that states whenever an enchantment you control enters, tap up to one target creature and goad it. So goading says until your next turn, that creature attacks each combat if able and attacks a player other than you if able. So it's a nice little protection thing that it has there, as well as whenever one or more creatures that are enchanted by an aura you control attacks, you draw a card. Now, that can be quite useful if we use some enchantments that force our opponents to attack, as well as enchantments on our own creatures. So let's take a look at what we're looking at here. So here's the list, and as always will be posted in the description of the video later. We've got our maybe board of cards to go over, but we'll go over that in a minute. So what's the game plan here? Well, it's an Enchantress style deck, as one can imagine. So we've got our normal, Enchantress style cards. We've got Mesa Enchantress. We've got the Core Spirit Dancer. We've got Pearl Ear. Typical cards that we would expect. We've also running Keen Duelist and Dark Confidant. Our mana curve, if you'll see here, is actually pretty low. So most of the time, we're not going to take a whole lot of damage from Dark Confidant, as well as Keen Duelist helping us draw some more cards in that way. We've got a pretty large protection suite here with Authority of the Consuls, Blind Obedience, Ghostly Prison, as well as Sphere of Safety. I wanted to go more of a Pillow Fort style, where if we're not drawing the things that force our opponents to attack each other, we at least make it, or we de-incentivize them to attack us. We're also running like Ink Shield. I think this is a really good card, especially one that's going to be coming in the new precon. So prices on this are a little bit different, just because a lot of it is coming with the Secrets of Strixhaven commander deck. But we could, switch this over to the most recent printing, and you can kind of see what we've got there. Price tag's probably going to be about $200. That's what I like to keep these decks around when I perform them for you all. So definitely something worth looking into if this is the style of deck that interests you. So now, our commander does goad our opponent's creatures automatically without much influence from us. However, we do have quite a few of these impetus style cards, basically forcing our opponent to attack others. So we've got the Chorus of Impetus, +1/+1 goaded, Eye of Nidhogg from the Final Fantasy set. Basically turn whatever you want into a black dragon with power and toughness 4/2, flying, death touch, and goaded. Seems pretty good, as well as the fact that when Eye of Nidhogg is put into a graveyard, you get it back. So it's a way for us to continuously recur that effect onto things. Ghoulish Impetus, again, pretty nice one. Gives it death touch and goaded, and when the enchanted creature dies, return this to the battlefield at the next end step. So again, replaying these type of effects to keep them going. And then whenever enchanted creature attacks, the controller loses 2 life and gain 2 life. This is a new one, I believe. Oh, there was one from the Battles of Baldur's Gate, which we've seen before. I like the new art, to be honest. I think it's really flavorful with Killian. So that's kind of our game plan. How do we win? Well, outside of forcing our opponents to beat each other to death, eventually we do need to finish off that last person. So how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to use like Ethereal Armor. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each enchantment you control and has first strike. Helm of the Gods and equipment with the same feature. All that glitters. This is a pretty self-explanatory one. Eidolon of Countless Battles gives something +1/+1 for each creature you control and +1/+1 for each aura. Really nice card for that. And then Tempest Technique. Later in the game, this can storm off and create quite a few nice things. So that essentially cast this with, 3 or 4 other enchantments in a turn. That's, 4 or 5 of these Tempest Techniques. Yeah, it's pretty good. You can suit up your whole board. We're also doing somewhat of a go wide strategy with tokens. These are also going to serve as ways to protect us. Whenever enchantment you control enters, make a cat. This one makes a Pegasus. The Combat Calligrapher kind of just helps us out in the fact that we give our opponents inklings that can't attack us while this is in play, which is really good. Again, trying to incentivize our opponents to attack each other. Ghostly Dancer's very similar when it enters, so it has a recursion engine, as well as whenever you play a enchantment or a room card. We're not running any rooms, but it gives you a spirit token with flying, as well as Sigil of the Empty Throne. I think this is just a staple in any Enchantress style deck, where you just make angel tokens and just eventually beat in. We do have a light recursion package here with changing loyalty. You can replicate this one, so you can cast a spell copy for each time you paid its replicate cost and choose new targets. When enchanted creature dies, return to the battlefield under your control. This can be used on your opponent's creatures as well. Don't forget that. That is very important. Forum Filibuster. This is a new card. At the beginning of your upkeep, create an Inkling creature token with flying. When you do, return up to 1 target aura or equipment card from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to this token. So we can bring back one of our pumpers to put it on that Inkling, as well as Mantle of the Ancients. Removal suite is pretty standard, I feel. Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshares, Darksteel Mutation. This is going to be for something that's pesky, that maybe they've just got a really rough effect. Now, this doesn't force them to attack. However, it does remove all abilities from that creature. Dimensional Exile, again, something that we need to just get rid of it. We don't want it to be attacking anyone. Maybe it's got like a universal effect where all opponents lose life when this does something. Just a way to get rid of it. Fracture is just really strong. And then more of these like Sheltered by Ghosts effects. English Unmaking is a pretty standard staple card. Exile target non-land permanent. You lose 3 life. Say they've got a Smothering Tithe. Say they've got a Rhystic Study. Say they've got, I don't know, some sort of artifact that you just want to get rid of. This helps you. We're also using Summon No Jimbo, with him being an enchantment creature. That's going to trigger Killian as well, because, well, he cares about enchantments. He doesn't care about much else than that. Enters the battlefield, exile target artifact, enchantment, or tapped creature an opponent controls. Very strong. Chapter 2 and 3. Until your next turn, creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each of those creatures. Again, Pillow Fort style. And then Chapter 4, create X treasure tokens, where X is the number of opponents who control a creature with power 4 or greater. Just a late game ramp thing. Honestly, we're not playing it for that 4th ability, but if it happens, it's great. It helps us. And then Doomwake Giant. I mean, this is pretty sweet. Whenever it or another enchantment you control enters, creatures your opponent control get -1/-1. Just a nice way to kind of get rid of the board and help us kind of swing in for game if we need to. Other things that are in here is our ramp. We've got our standard Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Hero of Aronis, auras cost 1 less. The original Killian, spells you cast that target a creature cost 2 less. So that's pretty nice for all of our auras that we're using here. Starfield Mystic, again, enchantments cost 1 less. Talisman, just because we're black-white, we don't really have a lot of that great green ramp that a lot of decks like to do. Transcendent Envoy. Codsworth, this is one of the more pricey ramp cards, but I feel like you can't really build the deck without it. Not only does it protect Killian, but it also allows you to pay 2 for an aura or equipment spell, as well as move those aura equipments around creatures you control, which is really nice. We've got the Danitha, as well as Storihim. How are you pronounced? Starnheim Corsair. Again, just a really nice ramp creature that you can also enchant, as it does have flying. Some notable lands outside of our basics, you know, the Verges, the Caves, the Command Tower. I am doing an Enganjo in this deck. Deals 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. I just feel having another removal spell is not a bad thing. It's always a land if you need it to be, so nothing bagged there. Vault of the Archangel. Creatures you control gain death, touch, and lifelink. Don't think I need to explain that much, especially when we're going more of a token base. It's going to give our wide board those abilities. And then Valgavoth's Lair just is another land that can trigger our commander. So with that, let's go ahead and get into the playtester, give you guys a look at how this kind of works, and we can kind of go from there to our maybe board. So taking a look at this opening hand, I don't think it's that great. We really want white in our opening hand. As you can see, almost every card in our hand requires a white pip, which we just don't have. So we're going to mulligan. One's a little bit better, a little slow, but it does have some interaction as well as things that we can use. You know, like Brina. Brina says whenever a player attacks one of your opponents, that opponent has more life than another of your opponents, that attacking player draws a card, and then we get counters. Now, this deck's going to be a little difficult to kind of show off, in the essence that we don't have 3 other decks that we're playing against like we normally would, but I can kind of show you the normal play patterns here. So start the turn, play this, and we'll pass. Now this is just a removal spell, makes it a coward, so not something that we want to play right away. Okay, next turn, do this, might as well get the helm out, get it out of our hands so it's something there. Maybe it eats a removal spell at some point, but at least we can get moving. Next turn, we're going to play a Plains. Now, rather than play Killian, we're going to play Brina here, simply because we want to start, you know, getting some of that advantage going here. And we're going to go like this. God the Shrine, we'll lose some life. Now, here's where things can kind of start getting a little interesting. You know, we'll play Killian, and all right, we're going to give Brina the Ethereal Armor. We're going to goad something, okay? Bria's going to attack. We're going to get some counters. Let's assume we just put them on her. Okay? Because we're going to attack whoever has the most life. That's one of our opponents, right? Now, whatever we goaded has to attack something. As long as Killian's alive, we're going to draw a card there. We're going to go to... Oh, we also would have drawn when Brina attacked, so there's another card. Then we'll go to our turn again. Okay? Alright. Let's protect our Killian. Let's do this. We'll goad something, and then let's make one of their big things that we just don't want to have attacking, you know, have no abilities. Okay, so now let's say we've got 2. Well, we're only going to have really 1 thing enchanted, but Brina's going to attack. That's going to draw us a card. Okay, then 2 of our opponents are going to be goaded, so that's going to be 2 more cards, and then we're going to go to our turn. You can kind of see here where our hand keeps staying pretty full through most of this. There's not a whole lot of issues with card draw once we get Killian going, which is really great, as well as we're protecting ourselves. And then from here we can kind of just go, okay, well now we're going to impetus 1 guy, so 2 more things are going to be goaded. Let's give ourselves a draw spell here, so that we can keep moving, as well as let's suit up Bria. Okay. So now she's really big. You know, she's a 1/3 with 4+1/+1 counters. She's getting +1/+1 for each enchantment we control, as well as an additional +1/+1 for each enchantment in first strike. So +2/+2 in first strike. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Not bad. She's getting +8/+8 first strike with flying. She's going to do some damage. And then we've got Killian here, who's more or less, we've got this on him to keep going. Oh, that attacks, we draw a card, so we played 1 enchantment, so we'll say 2 creatures are goaded. Let's draw 2 more. See how this kind of just snowballs out of control like that? And I think that's really cool. And there's obviously a lot of ways you can go about this. This is just kind of the way that I thought would be best. Let's just do another quick hand here. Okay. I like this. This will kind of show us some other stuff here. So we'll keep it. We'll start. We'll play this. Turn 2. Let's get Dark Confidant out. Okay. So Dark Confidant is going to be beginning of your upkeep. Reveal the top card of your library and put that card in your hand. Lose life equal to its mana value. Okay. So untap, upkeep. We're going to look at the top card. It's land. Cool. New turn. Okay. We'll do this. Let's play our Soul Ring. So we have that out there. As well as then let's play our Pegasus. Our Archon of Sun's Grace that's going to make us Pegasus. And then we'll do our turn. Nope, that drew one too many cards. Let's put that back. Well, actually, it wouldn't have. So first card was a land. So that's great. We don't lose anything. Draw this. What do we get? We got another Impetus card. Cool. That's great. So now we get to go Killian. As well as white, black, white for Killian. We needed a black for this. 2 colorless. Play this. We're going to make Impetus on something. We're going to create a Pegasi. As well as, so we'll go to 2 creatures at this point. From Killian's as well as whatever we enchanted. So it's going to say draw 2 cards. Okay. Our turn, untap, upkeep, lose nothing, draw for turn, play a land. And let's see, what is this? Another Impetus. Cool. So we'll do that. Go to another 2. So now there's 3 creatures that are probably going to be goaded here. You know, maybe something isn't going our way. What do we got here? Yeah. So, okay. So this doesn't do us too much, but... Oh, wait. We played an enchantment, right? Let's make another Pegasus. And then... Enters, exile the top 8 cards of your library. Cast an aura spell from among them without paying its mana cost. That seems pretty good for us. We like doing that, so... That's going to be 4 mana. Oh, just exactly what we got. So we'll play that. We'll look at the top 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can't believe we missed. That's ridiculous. That is insane. But, I mean, you can kind of still see, though, you know, we've got 3 things that are goaded. Let's say it's on all 3 of our opponents. 1, 2, 3. Our turn. Like, the card advantage is staying there as long as we keep Killian alive. So I really like the way this kind of snowballs out of control. It can kind of sit there. It is a little susceptible to removal, but most decks are these days. So let's go back to the deck and we'll kind of go over the maybe board and wrap this one up. So maybe board is kind of your standard staples in these instances. We've got Smothering Tithe, we've got Esper Sentinel, 2 cards I don't feel need a whole lot of explanation. Sigarda's Aid, Teferi's Protection, you know, Deadly Rollick, all great cards, all things that are a little more on the pricey side. I know Deadly Rollick's a little bit cheaper these days, as is Sigarda's Aid, with the recent reprints that they've been seeing, but you know, I would love to get these cards in here, and I'm sure that's something that, you know, you would as well if you've got them around or have the funds to do so. So outside of that, it's a pretty straightforward deck. You know, you're just going to play a bunch of enchantments. Killian is one of those commanders that's kind of doing a lot of the new stuff where they're kind of an all-in-one package. He's card draw, he's protection, you know, and he kind of just does what he does, and if you base the deck around him, he does it well, which this deck is pretty strong about doing. Again, it's a pretty good curve. Like, I'll be quite honest with you, most of the value in this for the price point as well, a lot of it's in the lands. I like a good mana base. It's something that I really strive to do. You know, I've got marsh flats in here and stuff like that, but again, I started in a time where you were able to get all the fetches and stuff like that, and it's something that I keep and hold on to. So outside of that, yeah, tell me what you think. Let me know who you'd like to see as the next commander that we do for the Commander Corner from the other 4 schools. Leave a comment below, like, share, all that good stuff. And until next time, my name is Rob. I like to play games, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day and play more games. Take care, everybody.